My name is Joaquin Brito. I'm known as Jack. When I started kindergarten in Mariana Elementary in Los Angeles at 5 years old, my teacher was Mrs. Rantham. She had 3 Johns and me. And so she put one Johnny, one Juan, one John, and me Jack. And the name just stuck. I was born in 1929 on February the 21st in San Diego, California. At 6 months, they brought me up to Los Angeles to Grandma's house to get baptized. And Dad ran into an old superintendent. My dad was a plasterer. And he convinced him to come back because he had a lot of work. So we never did go back to San Diego. My dad just went and picked up what little stuff he had and brought it up. And I was raised in Los Angeles. My alma mater is Garfield High School. We left there in August of 1945 and landed in Santa Clara, where probably the most interesting thing to do was to go down to the cemetery and read the grave markers, or down by the college and watch the grass grow. My education, I think, from kindergarten to the 9th grade was excellent. Although when I started kindergarten, we didn't know a word of English, and it took me till 3rd grade to be able to communicate in English and understand what the responses were. I had a teacher in 2nd grade named Mrs. Walling. She must have been 90 years old. Took her half an hour to go from the desk to the pencil sharpener. And I figured if she can speak English, man, I'm sure gonna learn it. Principal was Mr. Kendall, who was a personal friend of my dad. And so any events that came up, I remember when Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs came out, the 6th grade, who had good grades, were taken by bus. I was in the 4th grade, and he invited me to go with him. We did the same thing for Cinderella. We went to an opera. We went to a baseball game. And I graduated from Mariana School at the 6th grade and went to Kern Junior High for 3 years, 9, 10, no, it's 7, 8, and 9. And excellent teachers, excellent prepared educational plans. So I was pretty sharp when I graduated from the 9th grade. And when Mom decided that LA was just too dangerous for us to be raised at, she made the move to bring us to Santa Clara. I went to Santa Clara High School for 2 weeks. Mostly Portuguese kids studying about Christopher Columbus, and I thought, well, this ain't gonna do it. I went to work in a frozen food place, and the truant officer got a hold of me, and they removed me from the job, and he wanted me to go back to school. I went back for a couple of days and then took off. I'd walk up down First Street, which was the great metropolis at the time, and I would ask the owners if they needed the windows washed or the floor swept. And I'd make, $75, $1.25. I was passing by the old post office on First Street, and there was a sign there that said, Uncle Sam needs you. So I figured I'd go up and shoot the breeze with this recruiting sergeant, rest up a little bit. And when I left there, I enrolled in the military. I went home to Mom and I said, Mom, I need you to sign this for a job. And so she signed it. I was 17 years old and wound up at Fort Stoneman, and from there to Fort Lewis, Washington for about 3 months, and then went to Korea, was stationed in Seoul. I got back. I was short of being 20 years old when I got out of the service. I was short of being 20 years old when I got out of the service. And the work then here in Santa Clara County was either agricultural, picking prunes, pruning trees, and I worked at several packing places and was in charge of the place where we packed string beans and peas, and I was making a whole $1.25 an hour, which I thought was pretty good. When that season ended, I went to work for Mauer packing shed, which was celery, and that was I think 85 cents an hour. When I got out of the service, there was a program called 5220, which was kind of like unemployment, and I get $20 a week, and working a little bit on the outside, I'd make maybe $50-60 a week, which pretty good money at the time. I bought an automobile, a 1939 Plymouth. That was the talk of the town because nobody had automobiles, and I was always a taxi. I got married in 1949 to my beautiful wife. I'm now divorced, but I was all of 20 thinking I was really a grown-up man. She was only 15, but she looked like 18. They're all grown up, they all got families, and I have 19 grandchildren, 24 great-grandchildren, and 5 great-great-grandchildren. Pretty good crowd, and all of them super lovable. My father's name is Joaquin Garcia Brito. He was born November the 19th, 1893. I tell this story with people. Gettysburg Address was Lincoln in November the 19th of 1863. And 30 years to the day later, my dad was born. He was born in El Paso, Texas. Single mother, head of household, had 1 brother and 3 sisters. My mom was born in Santa Cruz de Rosales in Chihuahua. When the revolution looked like it was getting hot, Grandpa took the family and moved to El Paso. Mom was 6 years old when she crossed the border. Her name was Carmen Chavarria. When we got here from Los Angeles, I went to Santa Clara High School for 2 weeks, and the classes they were having I had learned several years before. So I went to work at a frozen food plant, and truant officer caught up with me right after that. At 17 years old, I went into the service.
So this was 19, when you went into the service?
1946.
Jack, so at what age and when did you start getting involved in issues outside your personal family life?
I was about 21 years old, and I'm sitting in the old rectory right there on Jackson Street. That was the rectory for the priests at the old Guadalupe Church. And Cesar Chavez had just brought CSO, or the Community Service Organization, from Fresno, and there was a sparse crowd, maybe 15, 16 people. I'm sitting in the back listening to him, and he's reporting that there's something has to be done on behalf of the farm workers who were overworked, underpaid. Cesar Chavez, I thought, was really a big dreamer in thinking, yeah, right, ain't nothing gonna happen with the farm workers. Well, I'm glad I was wrong, because he did great. His mentors were Father Donald McDonald, who was a priest at Guadalupe Church at the time, an excellent leader, and Fred Ross from the School of Solodensky. Both of them who were the guides for giving direction to Cesar on what could be done and how they could help.